The conflict has escalated sharply since late February 2026, when coordinated U.S. and Israeli strikes targeted Iranian military infrastructure. Since then, both sides have exchanged waves of missile and drone attacks, pushing the region closer to a broader war. Iran has launched repeated strikes against Israeli and allied targets, including fresh missile and drone attacks reported on March 26, showing the conflict remains active and expanding. Israel, meanwhile, has intensified its operations. One of the most significant developments came with a high-profile strike that killed a top Iranian naval commander, an operation linked to efforts to reopen the strategically vital Strait of Hormuz, a route critical for global oil supplies. Against this backdrop, attention has increasingly shifted toward Russia's role. Western intelligence and multiple reports indicate that Moscow may now be quietly supplying Iran with drones, medical aid, and other logistical support. Deliveries reportedly began earlier in March and are expected to be completed by the end of the month. This marks a striking reversal in roles. For years, Iran supplied Russia with drones used in Ukraine. Now, analysts believe Russia may be returning the favor, potentially sending upgraded versions of those same drone systems back to Iran. These drones, adapted and modified by Russian engineers, are believed to carry heavier payloads and improved navigation systems, increasing their destructive potential. Alongside hardware, intelligence support may be even more critical. Western officials assess that Russia is providing Iran with satellite imagery, targeting data and battlefield intelligence, enabling more precise strikes against U.S. forces and allied targets. This kind of support does not require boots on the ground, but can significantly shift the balance of power in a conflict. The growing cooperation has also raised alarms internationally. Ukrainian officials have warned that Russian drone production and technology transfers to Iran are fueling instability beyond Europe, effectively linking the Ukraine war and the Middle East conflict into a broader geopolitical struggle. One of the most sensitive elements of this emerging partnership is a covert supply corridor running through the Caspian Sea. Reports indicate that this route connects Russian and Iranian ports and has been used to transport drones, weapons, and other military supplies between the two countries. Israel appears to have recognized the strategic importance of this corridor. In a significant escalation, Israeli forces reportedly struck Iranian naval facilities near the Caspian port of Bandar Anzali, a move widely interpreted as an attempt to disrupt this supply line. Analysts suggest that while the strike may not completely halt transfers, it could temporarily slow cooperation and force both countries to reroute their logistics. Russia's public stance, however, remains cautious and defensive. The Kremlin has denied providing military assistance to Iran and has dismissed many of the reports as misinformation. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov addressed the situation by saying there are a lot of fakes going around right now. One thing is true, we are continuing our dialogue with the Iranian leadership. At the same time, Moscow has made clear that it is closely watching developments, particularly in sensitive regions like the Caspian Sea. Responding to reports of Israeli strikes in that area, Peskov warned Russia would view it extremely negatively. First of all, he also highlighted the uncertainty surrounding the conflict, noting we record a whole range of contradictory statements from all sides. We do not know what the situation actually is. This messaging reflects a careful balancing act. Russia appears to be supporting Iran indirectly through intelligence and logistics while avoiding direct military involvement that could trigger a broader confrontation with the United States. There are also clear limits to Moscow's support. While Iran has reportedly requested advanced air defense systems such as the S-400, Russia has declined to provide them, likely to avoid escalating tensions further with Washington. Instead, Moscow's assistance appears calibrated enough to strengthen Iran's position, but not enough to draw Russia directly into the war. Meanwhile, Iran's use of drones has become a defining feature of the conflict. Since the war began, Tehran has relied heavily on so-called one-way attack drones to strike military bases, infrastructure, and strategic targets across the region. These low-cost, high-impact systems allow Iran to project power asymmetrically, overwhelming defenses through volume and persistence. If Russian enhancements are successfully integrated into Iran's drone program, analysts warn that the scale and effectiveness of these attacks could increase significantly, potentially extending their range and destructive capability. The broader geopolitical picture is becoming increasingly complex. The war now involves multiple interconnected layers: direct military confrontation between Israel and Iran, U.S. involvement, Russian indirect support, and even spillover effects into other regions, including Ukraine and the Persian Gulf. Diplomatic efforts remain uncertain. Conflicting reports about potential peace proposals and negotiations continue to circulate, but there is little clarity on whether meaningful talks are underway. Reflecting this uncertainty, Peskov remarked, "We do not know how reliable they are. Lots and lots of current information is absolute lies. What is emerging is not just a regional conflict, but a networked war, one in which alliances are fluid, technology flows across borders, and multiple conflicts are increasingly interconnected. Russia's alleged support for Iran may not constitute direct intervention, but it is already shaping the battlefield in subtle yet significant ways." At the same time, Israeli efforts to target supply routes and key infrastructure suggest a strategy aimed at disrupting this growing partnership before it fully consolidates. Whether this evolving Moscow-Tehran relationship hardens into a more formal alliance or remains a flexible strategic alignment could play a decisive role in determining the next phase of the conflict. For now, the trajectory is clear. The war is expanding, the stakes are rising, and the line between regional and global conflict is becoming increasingly blurred.